40-mile-per-hour wind gusts did not stop the Xavier students from lining up early this morning. It's a sellout at the Cintas Center as Xavier looks to stop Jay Wright and 17th-ranked Villanova.
Michael Jordan. They won it! Wow! Oh my goodness! How about that? Oh boy! Unbelievable! Dreams to come true. As good as it gets.
The road to the Final Four on CBS takes us to Cincinnati, and the Cintas Center is rocking for today's game between number 17 Villanova and the Musketeers of Xavier. A look at the standings in the Big East. Villanova begins the day a game behind Marquette, while Xavier part of a three-way tie for 5th place. And hi everyone, welcome to Cincinnati with former Villanova coach Steve Lapis. I'm Andrew Catalan, and vulnerable is not usually a word you associate with Villanova lately. However, the Wildcats have lost 3 of their last 4, and it will be very difficult to get on track here in this environment.
Well, I can tell you this, when I leave this building today, I'm going to feel a lot better than when I was coaching, because this is one hard place to play as a visitor. Put that also together with the fact that Xavier playing their best basketball of the year, just won 3 in a row. How about Villanova? They lost 2 Big East games in a row for the first time since 2013 when the league was reconfigured. This is going to be abuse.
And it's no surprise what these teams are going to do. Villanova's going to shoot threes, and Xavier's going to go inside.
Well, over the last 7 years, Villanova's been the most prolific three-point shooting team in the country. 53% of their attempts are from the three-point line. Xavier is the opposite. They want to go inside. They got 2 big men to feed in there. They want to score 2, but would like to make some threes. These 2 teams could not be more different and more opposite.
And Villanova is so reliant on their top 2 scorers, Eric Paschal and this man, Phil Booth.
Well, Phil Booth has been around forever. This kid scored 20 points in the national championship game in 2016. He does everything for the Cats. In Big East games, averaging 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. He could be player of the year this year. And then you have Tyreek Jones for Xavier. They're going to throw the ball inside to him. He's so much improved with his post move. He's also the leading offensive rebounder in the conference. He has been terrific, and he's going to need to be terrific today.
All right, Coach Lapp, let's open up your playbook and take a look at our AT&T fast analysis.
Well, for Villanova, it's all about that spacing. Look at them all outside the three-point line. That opens up the lane for drives. It opens up the lane for pick and rolls because you're always worried about the three-point shooting. And then for Xavier, it's about getting the ball inside. They scored 42 points in the paint in the first game against Villanova. They're going to throw it inside to Tyreek Jones and Zach Hankins early and often.
Xavier looks to make it 4 straight wins. Tip-off is next on CBS. CBS Sports College basketball coverage is sponsored by the first ever Lexus UX. See your Lexus dealer. Jersey Mike Subs, be a sub above. And by AT&T, more for your thing, that's our thing. Ready to roll here in Cincinnati, and a lineup change for Villanova as Demir Cosby-Roundtree starts in favor of Jermaine Samuels. And for Xavier, keep an eye on Naji Marshall coming off a career-high 28 in Wednesday's win at Seton Hall. Jay Wright in his 18th year as the Villanova head coach against a man in his first season as a head coach. That's Travis Steele of Xavier. Villanova has dominated this series of late. They've won 5 in a row and 11 of the last 12, but it will not be easy today. Here at the rockin' Cintas Center, and we're ready to go. First of 2 big games on CBS today.
And it was interesting that Jay Wright made the change to Cosby-Roundtree because he needed to get a little bigger playing against the Xavier team, which is really big.
Villanova has lost 3 straight road games in Big East play. Trying to get back on track today, and a nice cut, but the bucket won't go by Quentin Gooden.
Well, he could have gone up on the right side of the basket, didn't need to go to the other side. He had a layup there. You'll see both of these teams play mostly man, but they will mix it up a little bit more late in the season to rest those legs, especially Booth and Pascal.
Here is Pascal on the baseline. Hands off to Cosby Roundtree. Villanova wants to control the pace today, as you mentioned, to try to keep Pascal and Booth fresh, and Xavier steps out of bounds. A turnover.
And you're going to see here that is clearly a travel.
Well, they called travel, you're right. Didn't step out of bounds. Turnover nonetheless on Xavier, and that's one of the keys that Travis Steele told us. Limit the turnovers. Last 5 games, they're averaging 17 turnovers per game.
That's been their Achilles heel the whole year. They're averaging almost 13.5 turnovers a game. So their turnover percentage, especially for the pace they play, that's a lot of turnovers. They don't play fast either.
Here's Gillespie, corner 3. Villanova desperately needs a third weapon. It's been Gillespie at times this year. They're looking for it to be more consistent down the stretch.
I think Jay thought that maybe there'd be a little bit more development in some of these younger guys here late in the season.
Zach Hankins' turnaround won't go, and the rebound grab by Cosby Roundtree.
Sadiq Bey is the only one who kind of has been consistent of that freshman class this year.
Just so different for Villanova, and we were talking with Jay Wright about that before the game. In the past, 1 or 2 guys have an off night. Doesn't matter. You got more guys that can pick up the slack. Different story this year for Villanova behind Booth and Pascal. Here is Booth, and he knocks it in.
And that was a great curl. One thing about Booth, he's a guy who can score in the lane. He can make 2s. He can make 3s. He does a lot. He has really gotten better and better every single season.
4th in the Big East, averaging 18 points per game.
But you know, you were talking about Villanova. How about that? They had 6 guys last year that could each score 25 on a given night. Now they've got really 2.5. Gillespie's gotten better. He's capable, but it's basically Pascal and Booth.
Strong take by Paul Scruggs, and he finishes with the left hand.
In the last game, Xavier scored 42 points in the paint. Whether it was a drive, whether it was post-ups by Tyreek Jones or Zach Hankins, they want to dominate the paint on offense. That's where Villanova has to really do a better job defensively.
Yeah, in the last game, as you mentioned, against Villanova, plus 14 in the paint for Xavier, including their first 20 points of the game. Pascal in the paint, and he puts it in.
What a great move by Eric Pascal. This kid, the transfer from Fordham, he's another guy. I think a big part of Villanova is that their guys get better and better every year, as do these kids from Xavier.
And Xavier had lost 6 in a row, but since then, a 3-game win streak. Trying to get to 7 and 8 in Big East play today. Here's a 3 ball. It won't go for Scruggs, and the ball out of bounds to Villanova.
It's important for Scruggs to make some 3s. He is their best 3-point. He's one of the better 3-point shooters in the entire Big East Conference. So he's the guy who's got to be most consistent from the 3-point line.
Substitution for Villanova early. Jay Wright goes to his bench as Eric Pascal walks off, and Joe Cremo checks in.
Wow, that's for a guy who averages 36 minutes a game, you don't see him come out after 3 minutes.
Our officials today, Brian O'Connell, Brent Hampton, and Matt Potter. Here's Booth. Kick out to Cremo. Extra pass to Bey for 3, and Sadiq Bey knocks it down.
This kid's going to be a really good ball player. That started with the dribble penetration by Phil Booth, and that's one thing Travis Steele talked about. They've got to contain the Villanova guards on these pick and rolls.
And a push on Gillespie, his first foul.
When Phil Booth gets in the lane, that creates that shot. It's like a hockey assist that he got there that goes to Sadiq Bey, and he knocks it out from the top of the key. They do a great job of getting in the lane, kicking it out, and finding shooters because of the great spacing they have on offense.
And Steve, Jay Wright goes back to his bench, putting in Javon Quinterly and giving Gillespie a blow. And we met with Wright before the game, and that was one of the things that he personally wanted to work on. The way he balanced his substitutions in the Georgetown game on Wednesday, he said that he had Booth and Pascal out at the same time. Didn't like how that worked out. So that's something to keep an eye on with Wright.
You know, in coaching, you learn something every game about what your team is about. And what he found out was he had them out and he couldn't get them back in because there were no stoppages. He wanted to call timeout, but everything just kept going up and down, up and down. He couldn't get those guys back in the game.
And the clock did not start after that last inbound. So that's why we're back with the officials at the monitor. See, on the foul, there were 16:38 to go. So now, Brent Hampton, Brian O'Connell taking a look. But Jay Wright, that was part of our conversation, just the way he's trying to keep Booth and Paschal fresh. He's even limiting some of their practice time just because here we are, late February. These two guys have logged a lot of minutes, and he's got to keep an eye on it heading into March.
Well, you know, we talked a lot about the early part of the season when they got drilled by Michigan at home. They lost to Furman. He said, you know what, the young guys weren't ready to be equal opportunistic players with Phil Booth and Eric Paschal. Then they started running everything through those two guys, and the team got better and better and better. But now they may have hit a little bit of a wall because there's been a lot of heat on Paschal and Booth this entire season to produce every single night.
So the officials just trying to finalize how much clock. As you saw, the shot clock and game clock froze up for a second there. And now we're good to go with 16:32 on the clock and 17 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Villanova an early 5-point advantage. And during that lengthy stoppage, it allowed Jay Wright to put Eric Paschal back in the game. Now the shot clock is at 4 and the clock says 16:20.
He got a nice little rest there, Andrew.
They got to put it up quickly.
Now that
was confusing, wasn't it?
It was confusing. But even Travis Steele's like, what happened there?
Because when the officials came back on the court, we said there were 17 on the shot clock, and then right before the inbound, they put 4 on the shot clock.
Yeah, that was
clearly.
That is not, you know, a lot of times after a stoppage, you'll blame the coaches or the player for not seeing that, but something crazy happened there.
That's a turnover by Xavier nonetheless. Villanova has made 3 shots in a row. Quinterly trying to make it 4 straight, but he can't.
Well, when you watch them play on offense, it's like they must not wear out the inside of the lane at Villanova ever because they're never in there. I mean, the spacing is unbelievable. And that's why it would really help Xavier to make a couple of threes because that will open up the inside for those big guys.
Gooden. That shot no good, and Cremo takes it off the glass.
And you see this pace. Villanova's number 330 in the nation at pace. Xavier's 302, so neither one of these teams wants to play fast. They will walk it up and play half court.
Here's Booth, corner 3. Marshall up ahead to Gooden. Gooden right at Quinterly. Cremo comes over to help. Marshall's left wide open because of the help. Misses the 3, and the rebound grabbed by Cosby Roundtree.
Naji Marshall is a 28% three-point shooter on the season. He made 5 in that last game against Seton Hall when he scored 28. So if he could make some shots, obviously it would help too, but he's been very inconsistent all season.
There's 5 threes in the win over Seton Hall, tied a career high from Marshall. Booth, nice feed. Cosby Roundtree had it partially blocked by Hankins.
Boy, it didn't look like Hankins was going to be able to recover, and he was able to get a hand on that one.
Hankins down low, puts it in.
Well, Zach Hankins knows where he needs to go. He ran in transition and plotted himself right in the low box of the lane and got great position early.
There's Cremo, deep 3. And tip to Marshall. Marshall wants another 3. It's good, and he ties it at 7.
You know, I wouldn't call that a shot that a 28% three-point shooter would take, let alone make, but he was feeling that one. And I don't blame Villanova for going under the screen. I'd go under every screen with him because he's more of a driver. But he knocked that one out.
Paschal nearly lost it. Over to Cremo. Another extra pass by Villanova. And Quinterly hits the 3. Just his 12th 3 of the year.
Nobody shot fakes like Villanova, and nobody has effective shot fakes like them because when you shoot threes well, shot fakes are going to work. That was a terrific shot fake by Cremo.
And a foul in the lane on Cosby Roundtree. Marshall will shoot free throws when we come back.
Well, Naji Marshall, they go under the screen. and he makes them pay. That's a big-time shot. And then Villanova moving the ball. Javon Quinterly, 10-7, Cats.
Tomorrow on CBS, he may not be a lawyer, but he's the one man you definitely want on your case. Michael Weatherly is Bull. New episode tomorrow at 10/9 Central, only CBS. How about back in 2001, Jay Wright in his looking good there. And how about Travis Steele? He was an assistant, a student manager at Butler. Quite an age difference between these two, 20 years. And now going head-to-head in the Big East.
And Travis Steele was standing there next to Brad Stevens, so they had quite a little tree going from those Butler guys.
Not a bad staff there, as that's where Travis Steele attended college. Student manager at Butler, and then followed his brother John Gross and Thad Matta on to Ohio State as a graduate assistant before Sean Miller hired him here at Xavier as the director of basketball operations, and he hasn't left. Last 10 years as an assistant before taking over as the head coach this season.
Boy, those are always killers, both way short.
We got 7 field goals in this game by 7 different players. Quinterly is the first to have 2 field goals.
This kid is a McDonald's All-American, and let's face it, you come into Villanova, you have to adjust to the culture and the way Jay Wright wants to do things. If they can start getting something out of Javon Quinterly, it's going to help this team tremendously. Give Jay Wright credit for getting him in early.
Nova has 4 assists on 5 made field goals as Gooden goes off the window.
One thing you know about Gooden, he's a driver. He's inconsistent from the three-point line also. You got to keep him in front. And now Villanova with a smaller team. Jermaine Samuel's the only real non-shooter in the game. I know people are skeptical of Quinterly, but he's capable of shooting.
Samuel's pass is deflected by Scruggs right to Tyreek Jones.
That was really good defense by Scruggs on the back door.
Gooden feeds the post. Jones draws the double. Gillespie rips it away. Fans wanted to travel, no call. Now Booth is fouled on the perimeter. And Tyreek Jones is saying, how did you not call the travel at the other end? Villanova leads by 3.
Here we go. Prizes for the win.
Villanova leading Xavier 12-9. Let's take a look at his Villanova defense. Look at Colin Gillespie right there, and you're going to see how he does a great job of seeing right here. He sees what's going on here and that there's going to be a pass into the low post, so he's automatically ready to give the help that needs to be given when the big guy has you sealed up. Good defense by Villanova and Colin Gillespie.
That's where Xavier wanted to travel right there. No call. 1 assist, 3 turnovers early on for Travis Steele's club. And Quinterly getting a lot of time here, but did not get it in. 5-second call against Villanova.
Good defense by Xavier that time. And here's that 1-2-2 press that Villanova likes to use probably about 10-11% of the time, and they're pretty effective in it. And back to his zone defense.
Here's Gooden on the attack, right past Pascal, but Pascal recovers for the block. And Gillespie brings the ball up the floor for a Villanova team that's 5-5 on the road this year, but losers of 3 straight.
You know, Andrew, Villanova takes about 19 seconds in offensive possession, which is one of the slowest 10 playing teams in the country on offense. So they're going to take their time. They're walking it up today.
Gillespie triple is good. Knocks it down. Colin Gillespie, who's been struggling from deep of late, hits the 3 here, but over his last 4 games, just 16% beyond the arc.
You know, they make it so hard because you got to go over the top of every screen on these guys, and that's just really hard to do. And now you see Naji Marshall's playing the 4 spot, so a smaller team in for Xavier.
Marshall, another deep 3, offensive rebound. Jones right back up and in.
Now you see why he averages over 3 offensive rebounds in game #1 in the Big East. He knows he'll never be out by the 3-point line unless he's setting a screen. He's going to be around that rim every time.
And in the first game between these two teams on January 18th, Tyreek Jones had 9 offensive rebounds against Villanova. Pascal will launch from deep and hit another, and this is how Villanova beats you.
And Naji Marshall got over the top of that screen, and he contested it, but Eric Pascal made a tough 3 contested.
Already 4 threes for the Wildcats. They average just under 11 per game. And nearly a turnover. Pascal saves it.
What a save.
Right to Sadiq Bey.
That could have been a travel, too.
Gillespie from another county, and that was off. Bey to the ground, try to keep the possession alive. Marshall on the sideline, he's out of bounds. Well, if you want your sports news without the hot takes, why don't you stream CBS Sports HQ, the free 24/7 network for more highlights and analysis. Download the CBS Sports app today.
Andrew, I got really worried. I thought Pascal was coming right in my chest.
Yeah, I know.
And let me tell you something. I'm not at the age where I'm be taking charges on guys. I didn't take a charge on a guy like that when I was in college.
It was every man for himself, by the way,
like,
here.
whoa,
So I
whoa.
was going to watch him take you out.
He could put a hurting on you.
He's a big man, listed at 6'8", 255, which is almost bigger than 2 of us.
Yes.
Villanova by 7, just past the midway point of the first half.
That's a foul.
And it's called on Jones.
I mean, for Tyreek Jones to even say anything about that one, and see, that's what Villanova does. If you switch those screens like Xavier likes to do, you end up with Tyreek Jones on Phil Booth. It's just not going to happen.
First foul on Jones.
Great job by Xavier staying down on those shot fakes. Not easy to do. That's good defense.
Booth, no good off the glass, and Caslin, the grad transfer from Columbia, tracks it down.
Great job by Paul Scruggs being able to stay in front of Phil Booth that time. Now Villanova back to the man-to-man defense. And they switch a lot too.
Balanced attack from the Musketeers so far. 5 field goals by 5 different players. Harden trying to make it a 6th different player, but his 3 is short. Elias Harden's been playing a lot more minutes for Travis Steele lately, over his last 5, averaging 16 minutes per game. As Tyreek Jones exits and Hankins returns.
You know, Andrew, if you watch that as you did the first Villanova-Xavier game, Xavier got the ball inside anytime they wanted. They're really struggling to get that ball in tonight.
In fact, Travis Steele was mic'd up during that game, and he said in the huddle, they have no answer for us inside, and they didn't, even though Villanova went on to win the game. But you're right, so far I haven't seen that as much.
You know what? The pressure on the ball's been very good, and that's the main reason why they haven't been able to throw it in there.
Shot clock at 4. Samuels 3. And the rebound by Bey. Fresh shot clock for Villanova. Bey not going to use it. Pops the 3, no good. Another offensive board, this time Samuels.
You know, when you take so many threes, the floor is so spread out, as we've talked about, but a lot of times you can get to those long rebounds in those situations because people aren't boxing you out at the 3-point line.
Pascal at the free throw line. Short. Another right to Booth. And Booth, contact there, and a foul called on Paul Scruggs. 7:54 to go as Scruggs picks up his 2nd. Nova still on top by 7. Xavier down by 7, and moments ago here was Travis Steele inside the Musketeers huddle.
Now listen, we got to guard the ball now. You got beat, you got fouled on the drive right there, you fouled him. We got to guard the ball. We got to guard the ball. Force them into the ball screen, no rejects. Just basic stuff. Basic stuff that we work on every single day.
He wants them to guard the ball and take it away from the ball screen. In other words, they're letting Villanova use those high pick and rolls anytime they want instead of trying to force them away from the screener. So that's a great point by Travis Steele, and that will help their defense tremendously.
Something they worked on a lot at practice leading up to this game. If you look back at the first game a month ago, Zach Hankins wasn't on the floor a lot in the second half because he was struggling adjusting to those ball screens, something he worked hard on the last 48 hours. As Booth misses a shot, Villanova has now missed 6 in a row. That's after starting 7 out of 13.
And they got 5 offensive rebounds and haven't scored a point yet on second chance points.
Booth, baseline, good. And that's the first bucket by either team in close to 3 minutes.
You can't give this team that many opportunities, and the crazy thing is Villanova's smaller, and in the first game, they had 18 points on second chance opportunities. They're headed that way in this game also.
Gooden straightaway 3, knocks it down. Big shot for Xavier. They got to try to get this crowd back into it.
Yeah, this is one of the tougher places in America to play. They don't get enough credit for what a great place this is as a home court.
30th sellout in the last 34 home games at the Cintas Center, and we showed you off the top of the broadcast. The wind was whipping this morning, and the fans were still lined up. There's another second chance opportunity here for Villanova. 6 offensive rebounds for the Wildcats here in the first half, but just 1 for the Musketeers. Booth launches from deep, and we have an offensive foul. He kicked out his leg. And you don't see that call a lot.
Very rarely, and that's a good call. Right there, yeah, he tripped. That's a great call by Brent Hampton.
That's the old Reggie Miller rule.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I'll tell you, that's some good officiating right there. It takes a lot of guts to make that call on a three-point shooter. Just let it. A lot of guys who just let it go. That's a good call.
So the ball back to the Musketeers, trailing by 6. Gooden, same spot, different result.
And Villanova is going to keep going under those screens until they make a bunch of those threes. I think that's the way to go, to try to keep them out of the lane.
Pascal, his 3 comes up short, and this time the rebound is Xavier. It's Ryan Welledge. Welledge known for shooting the 3, the transfer from San Jose State. Marshall to Hankins. Now you look at Naji Marshall, you think of him as a scorer, but he has 3.5 assists per game, which is 10th best in the Big East.
And I like the move now of Xavier going to this zone defense. That may help them with the dribble penetration, but they got to get to three-point shooters.
The lob, and Pascal the flush off the feed from Booth. 7 points for Eric Pascal. And that quiets the crowd for the moment.
Well, when you go zone, Zach Hankins has got to have his head on a swivel. You always have to look behind you to see who's around. That time, Zach Hankins, ball staring, lost his man from behind, lob.
And it's Harden with the triple. Just a 30% three-point shooter, but Elias Harden, the sophomore out of East Point, Georgia, makes it a 3-point game.
And now Zach Hankins is looking behind him a little bit, but that was a hard lesson to learn.
Booth, deep 3, good. And that's exactly what happened in the first meeting between these two teams. Anytime Xavier had some type of momentum going, a Villanova 3 squashed that momentum.
Villanova has probably played against zone less than anybody in America, for a good reason, that being one of them that you just saw.
4.5 to go in the first half. Marshall right through the lane, tough shot, and he connects.
That's when Naji Marshall's at his best. He's a driver.
He scored at least 20 in 3 of the last 4 games. And here in this game, Xavier's now made 4 of its last 5 shots. They're starting to heat up. Primo, shot clock at 5. Quinterly lost it. Shot clock's going to expire. Shot clock violation, a little extracurricular there between Gooden and Quinterly. They're separated and the crowd loves it. Hankins the dunk, but the alley-oop from Booth to Pascal pretty at the other end as Nova leads by 4. We're back in Cincinnati with a look at our game summary, and one of the early storylines here is how Villanova is controlling the glass. 6 offensive rebounds and +6 on the boards overall. What's not a surprise is the three-point shooting of Villanova. They already have 5.
Well, they've taken 24 shots, and 14 of them have been threes. Now, normally 53% of their shots are threes. Andrew, I was a math teacher. I think 14 of 24 is 7, 12, 58% of their shots in this game have been threes. So I still got my math, but they are really letting it fly from the three-point line. They average 30 attempts a game, and you know, they've been a little cold the last 4 games from the three-point line, which is a big reason why they had lost 3 out of 4 coming into today.
Their three-point shooting in victories this year, 47% compared to just 38% in losses.
I mean, they had a streak where they made, in 6 games in a row, over 12 threes, including 17 against Seton Hall. This team is one of the best in the nation at shooting three-pointers.
And a foul is called on Villanova.
Another good call was they didn't give the space. You're allowed to pivot when you catch the ball. This is a new rule this year too. And that time Villanova moved in on the double team and invaded his space, and that's why it's a foul.
Second foul on Cosby Roundtree, and I believe some Villanova fans at home are surprised at how often you're saying that's a great call. You didn't say that a lot when you were the head coach.
No, I didn't. I've said this a million times since I've stopped coaching. Refereeing's much better than I thought it was, when all I cared about was getting the call.
That's right. Jones, and he's called for the offensive foul. And for Tyreek Jones, that's his second.
Wow. See, I don't know about that one. All right, now, after lauding every call, I'm going to say I don't know about that one. To me, they're going to look at it and see if this is a flagrant, which I don't think it is. I don't think Jermaine Samuels gave him the space that he was allowed to come down from catching that ball. So I don't know about that one.
Take another look as the officials go to the monitor to see if there's a potential flagrant here with the elbow.
Yeah, I don't think that should have been called a foul. I think that should have been a no call, actually. He moves into Tyreek Jones, doesn't give him an opportunity to land when he went up in the air to catch the ball. And that's not a, I mean, wow, they could call that a 1. That elbow was a little loose. Now they got to determine, was he making a basketball play and inadvertently hit him with his elbow, or was he using his elbow, not as a weapon, because he wasn't trying to hurt him, but to ward him off.
See on the left of your screen, definition of a flagrant 1. And let's check in our New York studio. I've got flashbacks to the NFL because our rules analyst, Gene Steratore, is with us. What do you say, Gene?
I agree that this is just a regular basketball play, and Steve is doing a great job of officiating these last 30 seconds as well. I have to say that from the studio, but he's right 100%. He's not excessive and he's not seeking out. I think it's a player control foul, though.
And it indeed is. Gene, thank you very much.
He's a lot nicer to me now, I noticed. Or maybe I'm a lot nicer to him. I don't know which one it is.
Steratore and Lapis reunited. Good old times in the Big East. There's Sadiq Bey inside and does not find the touch. 3 minutes to go, opening half. Good doubleheader on CBS today. Later it's Michigan State as Jermaine Samuels commits the foul on Hankins.
Well, you take a look, Villanova does not do a good job. They hedge that screen a little too long, and then Samuels can't get back quick enough. I would say against a Xavier team that's not a good shooting team, you don't have to hedge those pick and rolls for so long. Get back to your man quickly.
Coming up on AT&T at the half, Greg, Clark, and Seth will get us caught up on all the scores and highlights, plus a look ahead at our second game, which we just mentioned. Our CBS doubleheader today, number 10 Michigan State and 7th ranked Michigan.
This is a gritty Xavier team, I'll tell you that.
starting to come into their own after that rough 6-game losing streak. As Booth hits a three.
That's
and
bad
again, the
defense.
momentum coming for Xavier, squashed by a Nova triple.
Well, you think that guy's going to get flustered? He scored 20 in the championship game when he was a sophomore. And he's played on 2 championships, played a big role. So, oh, great screen.
And Hankins lays it in. Well, we keep talking about Villanova. They got to find a third scorer. Or do they? Booth and Pascal have scored the last 13 points for Villanova. They have 17 of the Wildcats' 28 here in the first half. And Gooden a little too close, commits the foul. And that's team foul number 6 on Xavier.
Well, take a look here at the great execution. You're going to see here comes a nice up screen right there that he gets caught on. And that's why Zach Hankins is able to get a layup here. Good execution by Xavier. One thing I got to tell you, Andrew, Xavier you got to get over the top of that screen. I mean, that's like you're asking for trouble by going under it again. They're not playing pick and rolls well at all right now.
That was one of the first things Travis Steele told us before the game they had to key in on today. It was Marshall, and it's a foul on Gillespie. Second foul on Gillespie.
No, he moved his shoulder. That's a good call. That's not an easy call either. You see Gillespie there when he leaned to the left a little bit.
Well, Wednesday night, 11 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. It's an in-state battle as number 6 Nevada welcomes UNLV on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Coach Lapis and I will continue our road show out west. We can't get away from each other.
More miles.
That's right. Marshall makes them both. Marshall egging on the crowd. Here they come, a 1-point game. And Gillespie out with the 2 fouls for Villanova.
You know, I wouldn't mind seeing somebody face guard Phil Booth. I mean, you can't let him touch the ball. He's getting way too many looks for him. Great defense.
And a travel by Pascal.
Naji Marshall is a really good defender. That is just tremendous defense to force that travel. Stayed in front, gets his feet there. Great job. And Hankins with a little help in the end also.
So things picking up on both ends of the floor for Xavier. Here on the offensive end, they've scored on 6 of their last 7 trips. Samuels, good defense. Harden has it. Harden trying to call timeout. And instead it's a tie-up with the possession arrow favoring Villanova. With 1:20 to go in the first half.
Yeah, that would have been a good time to call timeout because the possession arrow is Villanova's. You know, sometimes kids go on the floor and they call timeout when they have the possession arrow. So it really helps to always know who has the arrow.
There's Booth and Pascal, 17 of the 28 for Villanova. Great play to Booth, who puts it in. Well executed out of the inbound. Only Villanova's 3rd field goal in the paint today, as Marshall and Hankins cannot connect.
Well, let's take a look at Phil Booth right here. Watch how he moves here, and Xavier gets caught up on the screen. Like Naji Marshall screened his own man there by mistake, and that's how they end up getting a layup. That's not communicating the way they need to.
An offensive foul on Phil Booth. And for Booth, that's his 2nd.
Phil does have a tendency to use that arm, and that's a pretty easy one right there.
And both of his fouls have been offensive fouls. So now Booth and Gillespie on the bench with 2.
He does have a tendency to use that left arm a little bit too much at times. He likes using the legs too.
So Booth sits down in the final minute of the first half. Villanova's led by as many as 9. Xavier has not led in this game.
Jermaine Samuels is fighting hard against Zach Hankins.
Hankins, who leads the Big East, shooting 68% from the floor. They're able to get that one to drop. And now a 6-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock, and Jay Wright will call timeout. With 28.7 to go, Villanova has the ball and a 3-point lead on CBS. March Madness officially begins when CBS reveals the 68 teams. Have your brackets ready for the NCAA selection show Sunday, March 17th, 6 Eastern on CBS. And we've got 6 teams up there for the Big East. So, Lap, if the tournament started today, how many of these 6 are in?
I think the top 3 are locks. I think Seton Hall is probably just there. But how about the job that Patrick Ewing has done at Georgetown? That win over Villanova was a huge win for them to even be talked about on the bubble. He's doing a great job with a very young group. Jesse Govan's a senior, but Akinjo and McClung, those guys are really good backcourt of the future.
Villanova had won 9 in a row against Georgetown until Wednesday's loss. Booth is back in. He's got to be careful as he tried to draw contact there. Offensive rebound, Quinterly 3. Short, tipped around to Kesslin. 5 seconds to go. Marshall across midcourt. Marshall for 3. No good, and that is how the first half ends, and you thought he had more time there.
Absolutely, Andrew. He could have taken that thing to the basket, to me, no doubt about it, and that's his strength.
So Jay Wright and Villanova lead by 3 at the half. Good one here in Cincinnati, and right now we go back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Andrew, thank you. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Clark and Seth are here for their take on today's action, and we look ahead to our Big Ten rivalry matchup between Michigan State and Michigan after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports presents AT&T at the half. AT&T, giving you more for your college basketball thing.
Hi, everyone. Halftime in Cincinnati. Villanova with the lead, 30-27 over Xavier. Welcome to AT&T at the half. Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg, Seth Davis. What's got Villanova up?
Hey, how do you get more shots than the opponent?
Being fungible.
Being fungible, that's one way. But also, if you turn them over more, turnovers are even. So the other way you get more shot volume, offensive rebounds.
Take more shots.
Bagging your own groceries. Getting your misses. And this is exactly what led Villanova to taking 9 more shots than Xavier in a very close ball game, and a couple of those offensive rebounds led to buckets. But here you just see, because the floor is so spaced and the long shots lead to long rebounds, it's much harder to defensive rebound when you're playing a team like that. Xavier has to tighten that up because the additional shot volume for a 3-point shooting team could be lethal.
And then how do you keep close when you're getting beat so badly on the boards? First of all, you're efficient on offense. Xavier's made 48% from the floor. Villanova's got to tighten that up. And you play good defense without fouling. Right. How about the fact that Villanova has yet to even attempt a free throw in this game? This one's going to be close because it's going to be a slow banger kind of a game.
Second half of Villanova and Xavier coming right up.
Thank you for watching AT&T at the half. AT&T, giving you more for your college basketball thing.
CBS Sports college basketball coverage is sponsored by Sonic. This is how you Sonic. Buick, proud partner of the NCAA. And by USAA, insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community. Cincinnati Zoo's favorite attraction, Fiona the Hippo, recently celebrated her 2nd birthday. That's quite a cake she got there as we take a look at the Reese's first half stats. And Villanova doing an excellent job on the glass. Already 7 offensive rebounds to 1 for Xavier. We welcome you back courtside with former Villanova coach Steve Lapis. I'm Andrew Catalan. Booth and Pascal, you got to stop them, and so far Xavier has not. They scored the final 15 points of the half for Villanova.
You know, the book's pretty well written. Everyone knows what you have to do. You have to stop or at least contain those 2 guys, and right now Xavier has not been able to do that. They've got 19 points between them, so the question is going to be, how are they going to be in the second half? Have they been wearing out a little bit lately because they have not played as well these last few games? That's going to be a big thing. And Zach Hankins is doing his job for Xavier. He has 8 points in the first half. The transfer from Division II Ferris State, who was National Player of the Year in D2 last year, doing what he needs to do inside. Right now, Xavier got to wear out Pascal and Booth a little bit more, do a better job of getting the ball inside, and stop turning it over. They had 7 turnovers in the first half. They are getting near their average, and that's not a good average to have.
You saw the sign Xavier run the table. They were a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament last year in the West region. The last 1 seed that failed to make the tournament the following year, Florida, in 2015. It's only happened 22 times since seeding began in 1979.
J.P. McCura, Trevon Blewett, Karen Cantor,
Kaiser Gates.
3 guys, 4 guys, big important guys to the program.
Chris Mack as well now at Louisville. Shot clock at 8.
And that was a rough turnover for Xavier at first possession.
And the rebound grabbed by Scruggs.
I think it would help Xavier a little bit if they push it up a little bit faster. Now, Tyreek Jones in the first half only played 11 minutes.
Good and nice feed. Hankins throws it down. Hankins has been working that block all day long.
You know, he's been the recipient. They're not post-ups. He's been more the recipient of the dribble penetration. His man leaves and he finishes. They want to get some post-ups also.
Gillespie for 3. It's good.
Underneath again. You count them out. I mean, it's pretty obvious to see with these guys here. If you don't get over the top of that screen, easier said than done. Granted, I understand that, but
second 3 of the day for Gillespie as Scruggs inside for 2. Scruggs been very quiet entering the day. Last 3 games, a total of 10 points. Only had 1 point in 21 minutes Wednesday night at Seton Hall.
And he didn't play real good the first time around against Villanova either.
Yeah, 3 of 8 shooting in that loss back on January 18th at Villanova. Got the defending conference champion in Xavier against the defending national champion in Villanova. Ball movement to Gillespie for 3. Short. Shot clock was winding down. Hankins on the catch. Hands off to Scruggs.
I thought Bay should have shot that.
Step back 3, Gooden. And the rebound to Bay. Xavier still has yet to lead today.
That's a shot that you would give up to Quentin Gooden. A step back 3.
Xavier 3 of 10 from deep. Booth using the screen. Again, Villanova using shot clock. Bay from the corner for 3. His second triple of the day, and the lead is 5 for Villanova. Phil Booth with 3 assists now for the Wildcats. In that first meeting, Villanova had a season-high 21 assists as Scruggs connects from the outside.
He's the guy, 44% three-point shooter, 4th in the Big East Conference.
Only Xavier player to start every game this year, the sophomore Scruggs out of Indianapolis. Booth cross-court pass. Now Pascal launches and hits.
They reverse the ball so well. And I'll say one thing about Pascal, he gets up so high on his jump shot. The lift is unbelievable.
He's got double figures now in 23 consecutive games. Pascal with 10 points today. Marshall gets the bounce. Three-point game inside 16 minutes to play. Villanova this half 3 of 5 shooting, all 3 of their field goals from deep. Wildcats are 14-2 this year when leading at halftime. And contact there, offensive foul. That's on Pascal and takes us to a timeout. As Xavier's not going quietly in this one.
And Zach Hankins with the strong finish there. Xavier hanging in there, down 3.
Back in Cincinnati, let's take a look at the AT&T Fast Analysis.
Well, the worst thing you can do as a defense is allow dribble penetration. When somebody gets in the lane, bad things are going to happen. The entire Xavier team just about is in the blue. You kick it out and reverse it against a good three-point shooter. You're a good three-point shooting team. You're going to get great shots every time.
Last two games, Villanova shot a combined 27% from three. Today, it's 39%, including 9 triples for the Wildcats.
And here's one for you, Andrew. Xavier, 1 offensive rebound the entire game. When you stop dribble penetration, which Villanova's pretty good defensively at, you're usually in good rebounding position to be a good defensive rebounding team, and that's what they're doing.
And Xavier is shooting 54%, but they've taken 9 fewer shots than Villanova because, in large part, those offensive rebounds. And a foul is called on Xavier. And that's going to be on Tyreek Jones, which is his 3rd. And Jones is going to come out of the game. It's been a frustrating day so far for Jones, only 2 points. And you look back at Wednesday's game at Seton Hall, he had 18 points in the first half, but he was scoreless in the second. So now in his last half and 5 minutes, he's only scored 2 points.
That was some frustrating body language to me.
Gillespie's pass, corralled by Samuels. Back out. Look at the ball movement in Bay. His 3rd 3 will not go down, and the rebound is Scruggs.
The shot fake by Colin Gillespie created a wide open shot for Sadiq Bey.
Marshall feeds Hankins. Rare post up here. You called it out, Steve. Will Hankins win the battle? No. And Samuels with the rebound.
And that's because they did a good job of pushing him out. He was trying to get closer. He ended up taking a fadeaway jump hook.
Villanova, this is the pace they want to play at. Slowing things down with 14.5 to go. Using shot clock, it's inside 10. Booth right at Scruggs. Now step back short.
Now, I think that Xavier, especially being home, should try to push this pace up a little bit.
Harden for 3. Wow. Hankins offensive board out of bounds. It'll stay with Villanova. Stay with Xavier. Tonight, will your next car be made in China? 60 Minutes takes you inside China's electric vehicle revolution. Plus, the FBI's most valuable witness ever against Al-Qaeda. That's tonight on 60 Minutes. That was just Xavier's 2nd offensive rebound of the game. And it'll be Gooden to send it in. Harden 17-footer. Banks it in.
He definitely wasn't calling that.
And a 1-point game. And the fans on their feet here at the Cintas Center. A good one in the Big East.
And Jay told us before the game, we're going to walk it up, and he's been true to his word.
Phil Booth with the ball yet to score this half. Haskell for 3. Knocks it down.
These guys here, they come on the road, and every time they need a basket, they score one. Pascal, Booth, these guys have been there, done that, and they're not fazed by anything. Now they're back in the zone.
Gooden trying to answer.
You know, it drives you nuts as a coach. You play man-to-man, man-to-man, then you go to zone, and the first possession, they make a 3. Let's see if Jay sticks with it. I was the type to say, oh, I should never play zone. Should have played the man-to-man.
Gooden has 8 points. And Jay Wright gets Gillespie off the bench, set to check in next whistle. Booth looking for his first points of the half. They don't come there, but Bay with the throwdown.
Whoa, that was more than a throwdown. I'm not trying to correct my partner.
No,
but
go ahead.
He grabbed that thing out of the air. It was way behind him, and he threw it down. That is a serious throwdown.
Scruggs with the left hand rolls around and out right to Quinterly.
Oh, gave me goosebumps, that one.
4 times Xavier has cut it down to 1, but they have yet to get over that hump and take the lead.
They got to get a stop. Got to get a stop. That's good defense.
Booth recovers with 10 to shoot. Booth drives, reverse, no. And it's grabbed by Xavier. And we have a foul called on Villanova. That'll be on Pascal. And that's his second.
Sadiq Bey comes look at him from the corner. He's fully extended.
And Jay Wright now upset with something the officials are doing with Brent Hampton. I think Jay Wright may have thought it was a tie-up, and instead the foul was called. And now Brian O'Connell, the official, is at the scorer's table. Let's take another look.
It was a tie-up. Let's see right here. What are they reviewing?
I think they're looking to see if Scruggs used an elbow at the end here with Pascal.
I didn't see that left arm. Nope.
Nothing, but it is a foul still on Pascal.
Yeah, it was a good call.
So Xavier basketball with 12:03 to go. And our rules analyst, Gene Steratore, is back in New York. What do you see here, Gene?
What Jay was questioning there was if number one actually did or swung and made contact with that player after it was over. But after looking at it, I wouldn't have called anything. I think it was just nothing but incidental contact.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you very much, Gene. Harden, corner three. It's good! And we are tied! First tie since it was 7-7 way back early in the first half. Pascal over to Cosby Roundtree. Gillespie is fouled.
Shot fakes.
Gooden commits the foul, but Harden from the corner. And we are all square here in Cincinnati. Tied at 44 in Cincinnati, and now an annual tradition on our crew with the Oscars tonight. We have the Lappies. It is a horrifying trophy.
It's a little eerie.
A lot of money went into it. We just cut out your face and put it on a trophy. All right, hand them out, the Lappies.
Well, we have Player of the Year first, and we've got to go with Zion Williamson. There's a couple of people that will fight it out, but this guy has been so spectacular. The way he handles the ball and a guy his size. Coach of the Year, got to go with my man Rick Barnes, who was the coach at Providence when I first got the Villanova job. Done a tremendous job at Tennessee. Team of the Year, the Zags of Gonzaga. Mark Few doing a spectacular job. This team is good enough to win the whole thing. Rui Hachimura, Brandon Clark, they can do it all.
And they will get their trophies, and if you think we're kidding, no, we actually do hand out this scary trophy. There was Mark Few, 2017 winner, receiving the Lappy, and Jalen Brunson, the Lappy Player of the Year a season ago. These are cherished prizes for our winners.
And how come you're saying that laughing? I'm just curious.
You're the one laughing, because you know it's as scary as I think it is. All right, tied at 44.
Getting a clear out here for Phil Booth.
Into the corner to Bay. This time his three won't go, and the rebound to Marshall.
And what a great box out by Naji Marshall that time.
Can Xavier find its lead for the first time today? Gooden's three won't go.
Well, Gooden's feeling it because he's made a couple.
Also a big assist here on Xavier's comeback trail to Harden. He had 7 total points in the previous 4 games. Harden has 8 today.
They've been using him more. He's averaging 16 minutes a game lately, so maybe getting into a better flow.
Quinterly from deep. And the long rebound out to Gooden.
With this one you want to push.
Marshall drives in. And the finish! Xavier has its first lead of the day. And Villanova calls timeout. CBS Sports college basketball coverage is sponsored by Axe. Infinity, empower the drive. And by Progressive. Get slam dunk savings today. Visit progressive.com. Xavier has its first lead of the day. Here's how they took it, Steve.
Well, transition defense is so important. That's what Villanova gets a little confused here because they don't really talk this out. They have two guys here. There's four, and a fifth guy's here, Saddiq Bey, and they're going to have two guys guarding the ball. So that confusion off that shot fake just allows Naji Marshall to get all the way to the basket. I think it's a good move for Xavier to push the ball in transition a little bit. They've struggled in the half court. They need to get some of that athleticism at the rim in 5-on-5 situations in transition.
Villanova scoreless in the last 2 minutes and 26 seconds. It's a 12-5 run overall for Xavier. And in the paint, that was a big part of the first game as we chronicled, 22-8 in favor of the Musketeers.
They've done a good job of stopping Villanova dribble penetration in the second half.
Pascal turnaround, no, and Marshall grabs it.
You know, you have to wonder a little bit, are Booth and Pascal a little bit gassed?
Good in another three attempt. And the offensive board to Jones.
You got to go into Tyreek Jones here, I think. Get him a touch.
Marshall on the perimeter. He's going to take that three. And make it! (15-5) run for the Musketeers.
He made 5 last game.
Marshall with 2 threes today. He's got 14 points to go along with 6 rebounds. Booth out of bounds. A miscommunication and a turnover by Villanova.
Well, here Crosby does not just lets him go and just lets him shoot that. Crosby Roundtree just let him go.
Marshall with 14 to pace the Musketeers. Inside 9 minutes to go. Xavier trying to make it 4 straight wins. Corner three is good again. This time it's Scruggs.
I don't know about you, Andrew. To me, it looks like Pascal and Booth are a little tired.
An 11-0 run. Pascal trying to end it. It's short. That would indicate tired legs, as you mentioned.
No lift on that one, I'll tell you that. And Xavier doing a good job now, spreading them out. With Naji Marshall playing the 4 spot, that's probably their best team.
Marshall comes off the screen. Puts up the shot and hits again. A 10-point Xavier lead.
I think Jay needs another timeout. I know the media timeout is coming.
(16 for Naji Marshall. Booth for 3. Numbers for the Musketeers the other way. Scruggs out to Marshall. And it's an air ball. And out of bounds. And a timeout, which Villanova desperately needs. This place is rocking. Musketeers by 10. We're back with our Capital One rewarding performance. A 13-0 run for Xavier.
And they've been getting help from a lot of people. A lot is hard, obviously. Naji Marshall knocking down a 3-point shot. And really, when you think about it, obviously making threes when you have a good inside game is very important to open things up. But, you know, Villanova has really been dragging here, I think, in the end.
They're doing everything, Lab. Even throwing T-shirts in the stands.
They just throw me one. I'll wear it. I'll wear it in the summer down the beach.
How about that? Travis Steele and Xavier have held Villanova scoreless the last 5 minutes. During that stretch, the Wildcats are 0 for 6 with a turnover.
And here's the thing about Villanova. It looks to you like, and you feel it, that if Booth and Pascal don't score, who's going to score? Because, you know, Saddiq Bey really has not been in it. Colin Gillespie hasn't been really in it. Jermaine Samuel's not a great offensive player. It might be time for Villanova to start pushing it up a little bit.
Booth has only rested 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Pascal has only sat for 6 minutes. So with those guys again, logging a lot of playing time as the loose ball is grabbed by Samuel. Shot clock does not reset. Booth out to Pascal for 3.
Everything is short.
And we talked with Jay Wright before the game about the number of minutes for both Booth and Pascal, and he said not only is it physically draining this time of year, but mentally. There's so much on their plate, trying to be leaders for this younger team, knowing the other teams are always trying to stop them. There's a lot that they could use a break from, Booth and Pascal.
For a good team, they probably have more heat on them than any two guys because the help is not there yet from the other younger kids. They're not ready to do it yet, so these guys have to do it for them to, I mean, think about it. They've had a heck of a year when you consider what they lost and what they have.
Correction, that's number 2, Noah Gillespie. That's his 3rd personal.
Gillespie picks up his 3rd foul, and now Scruggs at the free throw line. Tuesday on CBS, catch the show critics are calling heroic, refreshing, and surprising. Don't miss a new episode of FBI Tuesday after NCIS, only CBS.
You got to give Xavier a lot of credit because when they started to push the tempo a little bit, it helped them get some easier baskets, and now they're feeling pretty good, and their defense has been stout the entire game.
Scruggs has 10 points this half after just 2 in the first. Gillespie 3, and it just won't go down for Villanova.
And let's understand this too, Andrew. They have not attempted a free throw in this game.
It's crazy.
So they're just, shooting a lot of threes.
Good in driving and scoring. And Jones goes down, cramping his left knee.
Wow.
Tyreek Jones appears to be in fair amount of pain. Doesn't want to sit there too long. Gets right up.
Wow, that's good news.
And he doesn't want to come out of the game.
Yeah, they got to get him out for a second anyway. I mean, Villanova's been one of the better offensive teams in the nation the entire season. And to have 44 points with 6 minutes to go, boy, you got to give a lot of credit to Xavier and their defense today.
And look at that, Jones, he wants to go right back to the scorer's table. Had to come out, Hankins is in, but Jones is ready to go back. He wants to be on the floor as everything's coming up Xavier right now. And a whistle inside, and a foul is called against Harden. Here's a look at the Big East standings. Villanova plays Marquette next game on Wednesday. But they're a game behind entering the day and in trouble now against Xavier. And you look at the Big East, the top 6 teams get a bye in the first round of the Big East tournament. Xavier began the day in a 3-way tie for 5th. So this is a Musketeers team trying to close out its 4th consecutive win and put them in a lot better shape for the Big East tournament in New York City.
I'm going to venture to say, Andrew, that this may be the only year ever where, honestly, every coach in the Big East probably thinks they can win the Big East.
How about Jones back on the floor with a big block? The fans love it.
Great defense.
17 straight points for Xavier.
They didn't do a good job on Pascal and Booth in the first half, but boy, they did one in the second half.
And a foul is called on Phil Booth. And Jay Wright wants a timeout. Here's the block by Jones. I think the knee is okay.
Yeah, it looks it.
Timeout, Villanova with 5:38 to go on CBS. Coming up next, 2 of the nation's top teams. 10th-ranked Michigan State battles their conference and state rivals, number 7 Michigan. That's next on CBS. Only the 3rd time that they have met with both teams being ranked in the AP Top 10. Previous 2 were in 2013, and Michigan has won 3 straight in the series.
What a year Michigan is having right now. Then Michigan State's got to play without Langford and Ward.
How about in our game? Xavier did not have a lead for nearly the first 30 minutes of the game, and now they're up by 14. What a turnaround here by the Musketeers. Marshall.
Now Gillespie's on Jones.
Marshall for three.
Great box out. I'll tell you what, Colin Gillespie, what he did there on Tyreek Jones was pretty good.
Villanova ice cold. Can they get it going? No. Quinterly turns it over. Marshall the other way. Marshall the lob to Jones. And they get bailed out by a foul call on Villanova. Fouls on Samuels. That's his second. And Joe Cremo enters for Villanova as Quinterly, after that turnover, goes to the bench.
You know, Cremo's a fourth-year guy. He's a guy that you would expect in this kind of a situation to give some help, but he has not been able to do anything.
And shooting 27% from deep in Big East play. Gooden feeling it. The dish. But an offensive foul is called on Xavier. And Gillespie got the bad part of that one.
He's a tough kid, boy, I'll tell you that. Well, that's a great job taking charge there. He took a pretty good hit.
Third foul on Gooden, and Gillespie's going to get a little bit of a breather after that one. And limping a little bit over there to the Villanova bench.
He took a pretty good lick on that one.
Both teams wearing throwback uniforms. Villanova in their Navy 1985 retro uniforms. You know anything about that year?
I knew it looked familiar.
And Xavier wearing the Running Man logo, which was first used in the 83-84 season. Foul. Called on Tyreek Jones. That's his fourth. And he's going to come out of the game for Hankins.
You know, you wonder if Villanova has one more push left in them. They haven't really given me anything to think that they do. Knock down a three, though. Things can change quickly.
4.5 to go. And a foul on the drive called on Marshall. We mentioned 1985, Villanova wearing those uniforms, and I think the smartest thing you ever did, besides marrying your wife Harriet, was being one of the first to hug Rolly Massimino after you won the title with the Wildcats.
I knew that shot was going to live on forever, so I had to get in there first.
Are you going to wear your retro 1985 suit? Maybe. You still have that suit?
I do not.
No. You've moved on.
It was not one of the more expensive things I ever bought in my life.
Was it more expensive than the cost associated with making the Lappy trophy? I think they're about even.
I think about even, yes.
16 fouls on Xavier, so the next one will send Villanova to the free throw line for the first time today. And what a block by Pascal. And now on the rebound, a foul is called on Joe Cremo.
That was some block, Andrew. I mean, that looked like a flat-out dunk for sure. And Eric Pascal comes in out of nowhere. Xavier up 14 on Villanova.
We're back with our Jersey Mike's game summary. How about the last 9 minutes? Villanova has not scored. They're 0 for 11, and they trail by 14.
Yeah, really, I mean, they're not even getting a lot of attempts from some of these other guys besides Booth and Pascal, so you just wonder where it's going to come from.
And to give you an idea just how good Villanova's been the last few years, a loss today would be their 8th of the season, which equals their loss total for the last 2 years combined. 32-4 2 years ago, 36-4 last season.
I mean, let's understand this. Phil Booth in his career has like won 87% of his games. I mean, that's unheard of.
Yeah, when Booth is on the floor, he is 122 and 16.
That's a lot of fun days. Good pass.
And Cremo finally ends this scoring drought for Villanova. It lasted 9 minutes and 10 seconds without scoring.
Well, here comes the 1-2-2 press that they couldn't set up because they hadn't scored. And they're not done yet, because when you shoot threes like they do, I think Xavier should keep playing. I don't think they should. I'm not saying they should go fast, but keep trying to probe.
And a foul is called. That'll be a 1-and-1 for the Musketeers. First foul on Quinterly.
First personal foul, 7th team foul. For the Wildcats on the line for the
Xavier, not a good free throw shooting team. Second last in the Big East at 69%. Marshall, a 71% free throw shooter. Well, this week on The Late Show, Stevens got Matthew McConaughey, Steve Carell, Conan O'Brien, John Oliver, and the co-hosts of CBS This Morning. Plus tomorrow, catch Chris Christie. 1 out of 2 for Marshall, and Cremo saves it before it goes out of bounds. Can Villanova heat up here with just 3 minutes to go?
Well, they've got to attack a little faster than this. That's not a good shot.
Quinterly short, gets it back, puts it up again, misses a second time, and Marshall with the rebound. Looking at the stat sheet, Phil Booth still scoreless in the second half.
And it's getting the time.
They can't win games.
No.
If Booth's not going to score in the second half.
And I guess they're not going to foul yet, but they're getting to the point where they're going to need to foul. Like soon.
Marshall 3. Jones the offensive board. Oh! Tyreek with the hammer. In this game, Marshall and Scruggs have combined to score more than Pascal and Booth for Villanova.
Well, those two kids are pretty good players. There's no doubt about it. And a huge key for Xavier is they made 5 threes in this half. When this team makes threes, they obviously had the inside game, but making threes, which they hadn't made for the bulk of the year until lately, makes all the difference in the world. And I'm not saying they got to make 12 like Villanova does, but you make 8 or 9 instead of 6 like they usually make, it makes a huge difference and opens up that inside game a lot more.
And during the 20-2 run, just 1 turnover for Travis Steele's club. Villanova has missed its last 9 3-point attempts in a row.
And still have not attempted a free throw.
And now out of timeouts after that last stoppage was Jay Wright's final timeout. And a foul is called, and this will be the first time today that Villanova goes to the free throw line. A 1-and-1 for the Wildcats.
I mean, with 2 minutes to go, your first trip, which shows you there isn't a whole lot of post-up games for Villanova. There really is none.
Averaged 20 attempts per game this season, and with 2:12 to go, this will be the second attempt of the game for Pascal.
But that's not a fluke. Xavier is one of the best they're the best in the Big East at not fouling. They're #1 in least fouls per game. So
Great
this
point.
is how they play.
Yes, Xavier averages 16 fouls per game. Here's the trap, good in the corner, and a timeout is called by Xavier. 2:08 to go, and the Musketeers still up 61-48. Well, the last time Xavier beat Villanova, February of 2016. Nova was ranked #1, Musketeers #5, and they had 6 players score double figures, led by J.P. McCura. Xavier won 90-83, but since then, Nova has won 5 straight meetings between the two, and they've won those games by an average of 18 points per game. And as we mentioned right off the top, Villanova has looked vulnerable of late. In fact, if they lose this one, it'll be their first 3-game losing streak since January of 2013, when they lost 3 in a row at Syracuse, home to Pittsburgh, and at Providence.
You know, and I think this is good if they end up losing this game. This is a tough one for Jay to answer because he knows his two guys just ran out of gas. What do you do about that? I don't know. It's a good question.
Will be their 4th loss of the month, which, as we pointed out earlier, as many losses as they had all of last year. Gillespie called for the foul, his 4th. And a 1-and-1 for the Musketeers with 1:50 to go. I met with Jay Wright before the game and asked him, you know, some of the keys against Xavier, and he looked at us and said, these guys are playing really well. Beginning of Big East play, Xavier wasn't making a lot of shots. Now, about to win their 4th straight if they can hold on. They're shooting 50% today, and as you pointed out earlier, Steve, this Big East is so wide open this year, you can make a case for every single team to win the Big East tournament. And right now, you got to like what you're seeing out of the Musketeers.
No doubt about it. And this is the one tournament where all 10 teams, has had some good wins this year too. Every team feels like they have a chance going to New York.
Haskell turns it over. Numbers for Xavier. Gooden all the way, but he can't finish. And a foul is called inside as Samuels and Gooden collided. And that's going to go on Jermaine Samuels. Wow, Gooden got up there.
Not only up there, but he flew from a long distance because he took off from outside the lane. I mean, I didn't think this ball had a chance to get to the basket from how far he took off.
Told you Villanova had not gone to the line until less than a minute ago. They're 2 for 2. Xavier has gone to the line now 13 times, and one more coming for Gooden. Will be their 14th free throw attempt.
And I can't help but think, Andrew, that when this pace quickened up a little bit, it helped Xavier when they started pushing the tempo. And they don't usually play that way, but in this building, when you're home, it really pays to play a little faster.
And it's a cliche, but it's so true for Villanova. In fact, we used it on one of our graphics in the first half. They live by the 3, they die by the 3. And today, 10 of 33 shooting 3-pointers.
And you know, their last 4 games before this game.
Foul on Gillespie, and that's his 5th. He is fouled out.
Before this game, Andrew, the last 4 games, they were 39 for 125, 31%. That's not getting it done the way they like to play the game.
And that last bucket by Villanova, Phil Booth's first points of the second half. As Gillespie is fouled out. Xavier fans serenading him. It's been a great crowd, tremendous atmosphere here at the Cintas Center today. Just 6 points for Gillespie, so a time when Villanova and their fans looking for a 3rd scorer. You'd think it would be Gillespie. He's proved that at some points this year, but he continues to struggle. This is now 4 of his last 5 games that Gillespie has scored in single digits.
And that's a problem, obviously, but the bulk of Gillespie's shots are 3s, so he doesn't really vary his game up as much as he needs to in terms of getting into the basket a little bit. Now, he's small. That's what makes it hard.
3rd time he's fouled out this year, as Scruggs has one more. 13-point Xavier lead with 1:24 to go.
You got to give Xavier credit for their defense, especially that man-to-man that they played the entire second half was really good.
Primo's 3 off the mark, tipped up and in! Wow! We'll have to take another look at that one. And then Gooden dribbles it off his foot. How did this one go in, Lap? I guess you give that to Pascal.
Was it a header?
I think he got a hand on it. Either way, it's...
Maybe he played soccer.
63-52, and Villanova has the ball back after Gooden turned it over. Primo gets it into Pascal, and a foul is called by Gooden, and Travis Steele is furious at his junior guard. You can't commit a foul in that situation.
You know, one thing about Villanova, they're not going easy. I mean, I think Travis Steele's over there saying, all right, we got this one, we got this one. Yeah, you probably do, but you would wish they would just go away.
Don't forget, coming up next on CBS, good one in the Big Ten between number 10 Michigan State and 7th ranked Michigan. (63-54). 1:06 to go. Full court pressure from Villanova. Good into Scruggs. Scruggs up ahead, Harden. Hands off Jones. Good night. Primo misses the three. Scruggs the rebound. Villanova is not fouling. Until Booth just made me a liar. But Jay Wright was saying back off and not foul.
Yeah, you know, I used to hate this when I coached, especially if it just prolongs the party. I'm like, let's get out of here. You know, there comes a point where the coach says, get out of here.
Tyreek Jones, the exclamation point here in Cincinnati. Well, Steve, entering the weekend, Jerry Palm, our CBS Sports bracketologist, had Villanova as a number 6 seed for the NCAA tournament. Where do you have them now after this one?
I'd say road game like this, I'd say they go to 7. I don't think they go to 8, which obviously would really be not good for them because you know you're playing a tough first round game and then you got to play a 1 seed probably. They need to be in that 6-7 range if they can help it.
Only 3 games left in the regular season for both these teams. Nova has a big one Wednesday night at home against Marquette. It's their senior night. Quinterly 3. It won't go. Villanova has not made a three-pointer in the last 13 minutes. And that's the way it'll end. Xavier had lost 6 games in a row, and a lot of people were counting them out. Well, they've now just won their 4th straight, and a signature win for Travis Steele over 17th ranked Villanova. The Musketeers closed the game on a 25-10 run. Naji Marshall with 17. Paul Scruggs at 14. And after losing 5 straight in the series against Villanova, the Musketeers with an impressive win on their home floor. Let's update the standings in the Big East. Villanova has now lost 3 straight games. First time in 6 years that has happened. They're 11-4 in league play, while Xavier looking for some separation in that crowded Big East in the middle of the pack. They go to 7-8. And now tied for 4th with Seton Hall, and Steve Lapis is with Travis Steele.
Coach, in the first half, Pascal and Booth were really hurting you, but in the second half, you did a great job. What was the difference?
I thought we switched ball screens, and I thought that really helped. You know, Pascal is a tremendous player. Booth's a tremendous player. You can't guard ball screens the same way all game against Villanova. They're too good.
Well, you know, you come into this game, you're playing against one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country, and you did a great job defensively on them. How did that happen?
Yeah, I thought our guys played with great energy and great effort, man. Tyreek Jones was an absolute animal. Naji Marshall is one of the best defenders in the Big East. We've been working on defense, and it showed today.
Well, what's been the big difference? You're on this nice streak now at a good time of year, winning 4 in a row. What's been the big difference?
I just think that defensive identity, that has to be our identity. We got to wear our hard hat. We got to know who we are, and I think our guys have finally figured it out.
Congratulations and good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Once again, today's final score, Xavier
Thank you.
Villanova, 54.
You know, you guys went through a tough stretch there. You lost 6 in a row. Now you've turned this thing around. In the locker room, what were you guys talking about?
Man, it was weird because everybody just wanted it more. Each loss, everybody wanted to get back to practice as soon as possible. And even practicing now, they're competitive, and everybody just wanted you to get that feeling. So it's an unbelievable feeling, but, you know, glad to be here, and, you know, we hopefully keep this game streak winning.
Well, wanting it is obviously very important, but from a basketball standpoint, what do you think you guys are doing much better right now?
I think we're defending at a high level and rebounding at a high level, and we're starting to lessen our turnovers on the offensive end and playing with more pace when it comes to us.
Well, thanks a lot, Naji. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you.
Naji Marshall, a team high 17 points to go along with 7 rebounds and 4 assists. And that's on the heels of his 28-point performance on Wednesday against Seton Hall. For Steve Lapis, this is Andrew Catalan saying so long from Xavier, where the Musketeers win at 66-54. Coming up, Michigan State against Michigan. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the 2019 Men's National Championship. After the break, Greg Gumbel for Inside College Basketball, presented by Progressive Insurance.